the Arts Commission meeting of
Recording in progress.
Thursday, May 27th, 2012. Call the meeting to order. And Luis, can we have a roll call?
Of course. Chair Tosher.
Here.
Vice Chair Chisholm.
Present.
Commissioner Steiner. And I think you're on mute.
Yeah, you're on mute.
Pardon me. Here.
Perfect. Commissioner Golden.
Here.
Commissioner West.
Here.
Commissioner Gerber.
Here.
And Commissioner St. James Lopez.
Here.
Perfect.
Thank you, everyone. Eric, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight?
Absolutely. I'd be very happy to. I pledge allegiance to the flag of
the United States
of
of America
and for the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Luis, do we have anyone wanting to speak to us tonight, or do we have any letters?
No, nothing as 5 o'clock this afternoon.
Okay, great. Thank you. Then we'll move along to our consent items, which are the minutes of the April 22nd, 2021 meeting. Does anyone have any corrections or additions to those minutes?
Yes, and I actually received corrections from Commissioner Steiner in reference to the introduction. So we'll go ahead and make those corrections to the final form.
Okay, great. Anyone else?
Then, yeah, while we're on the topic of me, I have one addition to 4E in the discussion of the poppy fountain.
Mm-hmm.
I think we want to add the point we made that the artist would be notified of the moving of the plaque.
Okay.
Okay, is that it? Last call. All right, can I get a motion to approve these minutes?
So moved.
Okay.
And a second?
I'll second.
I second.
Okay, and we'll go ahead and do the roll call. Commissioner West.
Looks good. Yes.
Commissioner Golden.
Yes.
Chair Tosher.
Yes.
Commissioner Chisholm.
Yes.
Commissioner Steiner.
Yes.
Commissioner Gerber.
Yes.
And Commissioner St. James Lopez.
Yes.
Perfect. Motion passes.
Great, thank you. And the first topic, I'd love for Commissioner West to talk about his Arts Education Committee and what concepts he might have, what he'd like to talk, whatever he'd like to talk to us about regarding the Arts Education Committee and the many possibilities for that committee.
Thank you, Marcy. From my research, it's sort of been a kind of a stagnant backwater of the Arts Commission for a while. Not much has happened there. No money has been spent. So, and, you know, we do other things in public relations and in mentorship and all too that could easily fall under all or overlap with this category as well. But I would like to maybe have a little discussion with these points in mind. One, we should be promoting the public art through tours and events. That's something that we already do. But, you know, perhaps we can make sure that flows under the auspices of the Education Committee. We've already been working on the promoting our art tours, our public art, with the TV station, and so I'd like to, you know, even though that's under the, I guess I don't know where that is right now because it's something new. So, but again, it's doing the same thing just virtually through the web and through TV and our social media. What I would like to maybe get some feedback on is an idea that I drew on it from my years in the Rotary Club, where they would have an avenue of service called vocational service, where honoring and supporting the value of every vocation on the planet. And as the Public Arts Commission and stewarding our community's investment in in the arts. I would like to talk about proposing an arts scholarship that would be a vocational type scholarship that could either be for a youth, somebody the same way the mentor programs have of other organizations who work at the high school, to try to present that both Ojai and the arts are a place where someone might consider investing their career, vocation, and location. Several times at the Rotary Club, we would send someone. We gave almost $100,000 away a year in scholarships, and almost all of it was for university. But due to some vocal, wise people in the club, we always carved out one or two vocational scholarships. I remember one year we sent someone to a jewelry making semester in Carlsbad at some jewelry university that's down there too. So I don't know if it made it into the budget this year, but I had proposed at least $500 to, and if it's not in this year, we can, either just plan for next year or try to find a sponsor or something like that, to send a young person through an application process to receive, a little tidbit of an art education, maybe from an Ojai artist who might also be an instructor, but just to try to build a future of the understanding of art in the community. So that's sort of my idea with the others, and I'll turn it back.
Great. Okay. Eric, you're on that committee, and do you have any preliminary thoughts, any comments that you want to make to that idea of a vocational scholarship, or any other ideas you might have? As Smitty mentioned, this has kind of been a back burner committee for a while, and I view it as an opportunity to really take it to places maybe it's never been before, with some new ideas. I know in the past, Christine has mentioned a video series from public TV that they ran a series at the Playhouse, and people could donate money for admission or whatever. It was voluntary, and they raised $400 or more, she said. So we could continue with something like that. I think with the Playhouse opening up again, it might present a lot of opportunities to invite speakers or artists or whatever. Anyway, what are your thoughts, Eric?
Yeah. I think I'd be really wonderful. I'm really open to both ideas. I love the idea of vocational scholarship and what you were just speaking about. And what comes to mind to me is maybe a series as well, with all the artists that we have. I'm sure there could be some incredible discussions that we could have. We could bring in people from across the state even, and invite really great artists to Ojai to speak, and then having kind of discussions one-on-one, and then having kind of the Q&As from the audience. I would absolutely love that. That's something that would excite me. I'm not sure if this falls under arts education, though I think it could be, but I'll just say it. But I love working with artist residencies. And if there's an artist residency where there's sort of like a mentorship component to that, I guess that might be arts education. I'd love to be part of anything like that as well. Because, Ojai is just so much beautiful space, and I'm sure, I don't know how budget-wise how an artist residency would work with this city, but I'm sure, there's a lot of opportunity for that as well. And I guess I'm also wondering what the difference between a vocational scholarship and the mentor program is. I think Smitty might have just mentioned what it was, but I have a hard time understanding what the difference is still.
Smitty, do you want to distinguish those two concepts?
Well, the mentor program is like a job shadow thing, showing the mentees, proteges, whatever we call them, what the life of an artist is like. in the community. And definitely that's a kind of a vocational service, vocational education activity. This may go further. Like someone could apply to get the money to take the VC class in pottery or something like that. So it was something I sort of almost intended it almost academic, where it was supporting with something with maybe a little more meat. It would help build someone's resume. And something a little more formal.
Got it.
But they're both super valuable.
The mentorship program is more for like high school students, and then scholarship could be younger to however much older then. And a scholarship would, I guess, include like some kind of stipend, or what would that mean, you think?
I was just thinking more like the scholarship would be an institutional type thing. The check would go to the school that is teaching that, where the mentor program is between a protege and a active resident artist of Ojai. I just kind of trying to, educate, if I hadn't been told when I was young that I couldn't draw, I would probably be drawing. And so I'm 62 now, I'll probably be 70. I'll start drawing. It'll probably end up being the best thing I ever did, But if someone had sent me to drawing class when I was in 4th grade, instead of telling me I can't draw, I might have, it might have changed my life.
Cool.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Eric. Nigel, do you have anything you want to contribute? Any comments or?
I always like the idea of getting people involved in arts because I never really had that opportunity when I was a child. And so I'm all for that. Smitty, is this something that you feel that we could use the television channel for as a sort of competition, perhaps, for people to make short videos about what they do, and then we can put it on the TV? And
the first 2 points I mentioned before my sponsorship were the promoting what our Arts Commission does for the community, and yeah, for sure, doing it through. And if we did a scholarship and did a little shadow with a video and showed that as well, that's definitely in the there's no question. I look forward to hearing. I haven't heard yet, other than the council approved it, but I look forward to hearing.
No, it seems to me that
Smitty,
it seems to me that these things are always worth a conversation at the very least, and see how we can inculcate ourselves into the community as much as humanly possible, and make ourselves relevant to the community. So if it's not this, the conversation alone will direct us in other areas that may work for us. So well done, Smitty.
I love it. But I guess I to me, when I say education, I'm like, let's get them young and spoon feed them something. Where I see sort of the art tours are already for probably, you look around the average age of a person that goes on the art tour, and they're people in the community and want to appreciate what they have. It's not really an education thing in terms of what might launch a vocation. And I want people. We're an artist community with working artists here. But they don't teach you that at the high school, I'm sure.
Smitty, I'll just take you up on that a little bit. I went on that tour with Christy, and I can't tell you how much I learned. It was absolutely ridiculous, the amount that I learned that I thought I knew and I didn't. And there's no reason why those tours couldn't be expanded to high schools or middle schools.
But there was probably not young people there, though. I'm betting. I don't know.
I may have been the youngest.
Oh, forgive me. There was someone young.
Well done.
Thank you.
Good.
Robin?
Robin's on my committee.
Yeah, Robin.
Let's have a meeting.
Yeah.
Well, I would say this. I don't think this is the place for a meeting. This sounds like a meeting. I think this is the place to come in with developed proposals that have money attached and a plan attached. And I think the place to start would be looking at other places. And as you say, Marcy, we want some new ideas. I like Eric's idea of the, because I don't think we've ever had a artist in residence. And Eric and I had communicated a bit about Soul Park, which I explained to him is not in the city. However, Libby Park is, and it's always struck me that the jail is an underutilized resource, Louise, and so historic, and might be an interesting space to use for something. But frankly, Mr. Chairman of the Education Committee, Smitty, I think it would be useful to do some research on what other places are doing in arts education and see if we can come up with some new ideas and come to the commission meetings with a fully developed actual proposal. I don't think it's appropriate for us to spend our time.
Well, I had hoped that the three of you would get together and do that, and it doesn't look like it happened. So this should be the impetus for you guys to get together and organize your thoughts.
Thank you for that.
And bring them to us, because I think it's exciting. Christine and I met with Eric yesterday to go over the new handbook and give him an orientation. And I talked about the Arts Education Committee and how it's almost a blank slate at this point. It's really exciting. I mean, you can take it in so many different directions. And I love all of these concepts that you all brought up. So I'm looking forward to hearing them come back from you guys as a committee that has gelled together. Christine, do you have any thoughts?
Well, I do. I'm not sure that this would be under arts education, or I don't know where it would be if people like it, but Smitty, I thought of it when you talked about Rotary programs, and you know how there'd always be a student of the month. And I always thought it would be really great if we invited teachers. We could pick a particular grade level or span of grade level, and especially once we meet in person, to have an art student of the month who would appear at our meetings and receive a certificate, let's say $25 from Ojai Creates or Serendipity Toys. They have tons of art supplies there, something like that. So I don't know if that's art education, but it's an idea I threw out there for whatever committee or program it would fall under. Because I think what we're talking about here is how can we engage youth in art programs and encourage them to consider art as an avocation or a vocation.
Great.
That's all. I love the ideas I hear coming out here, and I really do encourage that Channel 10 could be used to hold some kind of a dialogue that people could tune in on a topic, and there would be artists from Ojai, and as Eric said, even from farther away than Ojai, that could talk on a particular subject on Channel 10. I love that idea. I hope you guys will explore that more. That's it.
Well, Channel 10 is on the agenda, and we'll get to that later. We can talk about some ideas for Channel 10, and Smitty and Louise can fill us in on what's happening with Channel 10. Christine, did you have anything you wanted to add?
I do not. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well, I think we covered that really well, and thank you, Smitty and Eric and Robin. Next thing, Robin, do you have anything you want to talk about regarding public relations, the committee, anything you have in the works other than what you talked about before regarding Barbara Hirsch?
I have talked with Brett Bradigan for the monthly and the quarterly. Mm-hmm. And so he's very willing to put in more than just when we have, something like giving away an award. So what I would ask is if everyone has anything that you think is related to the commission that I could get him to be interested in. The monthly, he'll put in sort of anything. The quarterly is a lifestyle magazine, so it has to be something that's a bit more around lifestyle, shall we say. And also the OVN will occasionally put in stuff. So I would just say, if you have anything that you think might be able to be published, if you send it to me, then I can try to get it in. But I think
that's great.
The main thing for our PR is what Eric is doing, because we really need to move on to social media platforms, and he's going to enable that.
Yes.
There's also a couple of online magazines, one that's going to be focused on the art, and the woman who's starting that up and I have been talking, and she'll, again, if you have anything, I think she would put it, Gina Remo, I don't know if anyone knows her. She used to be an actress.
Oh, Gina Nemo.
Nemo, I mean, Gina Nemo, yes. So she's would be very happy to take some things. So, but I
Right.
need the material.
Okay,
Yeah, so that's it.
great, thank you. I don't know, Robin, if this is on your radar, but Eric mentioned a publication he just came across that they distribute at Bart's Books. Do you want to give Robin the name of that publication? You might add that to your possible
Just
publisher.
text it to me, Eric.
Yes. So the name of the publication is Lum Arts Magazine. It's really, really wonderful. Has all the kind of artists that are up and coming in Ventura County,
Right,
specifically.
yeah, I have seen that. Yeah, I have seen.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
free at Arts Books.
Right, yes, I know about that. Thanks.
Okay, great. Thank you, Robin. I'm really excited to think about ideas and toss them over to you. Thanks for that invitation. Now, Eric, the next item on the agenda is your item, which will be the website, Facebook, et cetera, and I'll give you the floor now.
All right. So I, I think that hopefully everyone saw the email. I have built a few websites before in my time, and I want to make sure that the website essentially is easy to follow and really beautiful, and would incentivize people to want to come to it regularly. And I spoke to Marcy and Christine Golden about the fact that maybe there's the possibility of having a newsletter as well. So I wanted to find out still what that might look like and how much time would be put into that. And I just think that, actually on the Arts Ojai website right now, we're actually taking down email addresses, but the email addresses haven't been put into any use yet. So we might have a sizable email list actually already, but it'd just be a really great way for people to learn about what's going on in the arts in Ojai in a way that's easy to follow. And I think, now we have a lot of people using Instagram, of course, and I think Instagram would be a really great place for us to advertise and reach out to people and keep people updated on what's going on. Because I am friends with quite a few artists in town, and I think a lot of them would love to know these things and are I don't know about a lot of things that the Arts Commission are doing. But anyway, I have a template right now, and I don't know if it's possible, but I can share my screen if that's okay, Luis, and I can show you guys just like a really very, very rough draft of what the website looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're more than welcome to. You should be able to, if you have her just over share screen, you should be able to share your screen. If you have any troubles, let me know, and I can make sure that gets enacted.
Okay, cool. Let me try now. Okay, is it working?
Yes.
Yay, okay, cool. All right, one second. Let's, hold on. Okay, so here's just like it's gonna take a second to go full screen, I guess. 1 second. Hold on. So I'm thinking something like this, more or less. So this is just like a video that someone took on YouTube that's just drone footage of the Topa Topa Mountains. But I was thinking, because I have my own drone, I would love to be able to have my drone be able to show the public arts and the public artworks in Ojai. So the drone work instead would not be these mountains. This is just kind of a sample, but would be kind of hovering over the public artworks we have in town. And, I think on the top right page side, you can see all these sort of social media links. I don't think we need a Twitter. And I know we have a Facebook already. So the Instagram and Facebook, I want to discuss Instagram and how that might look like with you guys and how that might be possible.
I wanted to ask Louise about that real quick.
Sure.
City's position about Instagram, because I think we discussed this before.
That is correct. To my knowledge, the commission would need to go ahead and seek permission from the city to or to get an Instagram page. I'm not really sure how that would look like now, But I know initially we'd have to go ahead and seek permission from the city to be able to obtain that page.
Okay. Sure. But Facebook is allowed. Okay. So, all right, great. So, if we don't have to have Instagram, I think that'd be really, really wonderful. Especially with, I think, more young people and artists moving to Ojai. So anyways, that's what I have to say about that. And what was my next point? Yeah, so I also wanted to talk about the the donate button and how that might be, and maybe this is all things I just need to email Luis about and just get the what's allowed, what isn't allowed. So you can stop me if this is getting too specific. But if there's a donate button, I think that might be really wonderful if people want to be able to give to the arts in Ojai and don't know how to do that. And let's see if I can find it. Basically, there are a lot less pages than the current website, and so it would be a lot more drop-down menus. And so this is just going to take me some time to organize it because it's a little bit of a spider web right now. And so making it easy to understand and user-friendly and intuitive. I want to make it as intuitive as possible. That's going to be my main goal. So, okay. I guess this is something we could talk about and vote on, which is I would think it'd be smart to name the website something like Art in Ojai or Ojai Arts. If we call it Ojai Arts Commission, we can call it ojaiartscommission.com or just Arts Ojai and keep that domain name. But I guess want this website to not just be talking about Ojai Arts Commission, though we do amazing things and we could just keep it to Ojai Arts Commission. But I think if we broaden the scope of it and talk about how this is the prime website for art in Ojai, and kind of give it that monumentality, then I think it's gonna have more of a, what's the word? I think that more people are gonna be pulled to want to visit. But anyways, that's I don't know how anyone feels about that.
Impact is the word you're looking for, Eric.
Sorry?
Impact.
And more impact, yeah. It seems more grand. And I think we're not just advertising ourselves. I think we are trying to serve art in Ojai. So I think that made kind of more sense to me.
That's one of the missions of the Arts Commission is to promote art in Ojai. So
it would be really good to link to the Ojai studio artists.
Yeah.
So that people can go. I agree with you, Eric. Yeah.
Right. And I think that's really true too. So all the other arts organizations in Ojai, I can link to them as well. So it's kind of it's an everything page. I think if we scroll down, there's not much. Anyways.
Yeah, maybe even
I'll be back with more updates.
Ojai Arts Center could be linked to if they have a presence. I don't know.
Luis, is there an issue with linking to external sites?
No, not necessarily. I think the only caveat to that is we as a government entity don't want to go ahead and play favorites to any particular organization. So we just want to make sure that we truly vet which organizations we're going to go ahead and link to. The only thing, Commissioner St. James Lopez, I was going to go ahead and mention is in reference to renaming the links, one of the things I would like to go ahead and do is be in contact with our IT technician in reference to anything that's already out there. So an example, what I mean by this is one of the things that we are currently working on is getting a QR code for the Trimp and Sound Arch. Now, if we change the website or change the domain name, then that QR code would no longer work. So I want to go ahead and see what else is out there that if the commission decides to go ahead and change its name for the website name for any reason, what other impacts it's going to have.
It would the brochures that have 3 QR links on them.
Yeah.
For the driving tours, there's 3 driving tours, would no longer be brochures would be moot.
Yeah.
So I mean, I certainly would not support changing the domain name. There's a lot of work went into those brochures. So
well, Well, there might be a possibility.
Eventually they're going to be updated and republished. So maybe that's the time to coordinate all that. I don't know. That's down the road, I think.
Yeah.
We have like a crazy amount of brochures that haven't been used yet, right? That haven't been distributed. So it's going to take some time for us to be able to change the QR scan code then. But here's an idea. And maybe we could, for the sound arch, we could keep the QR scan code and have it that webpage, that specific webpage still exists, but like still have the new website. And I think it is possible to have two websites, but not have one like quite show on Google.
So yeah, you can have multiple websites pointing to one place, so you don't have to lose the web address.
Yeah,
you can have 100 of them that all, when you click on them, they just go straight to the same one. So it's unnecessary to change the web address, Eric. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary, especially with the Ojai Arts website. I don't think there's any. I guess I'm wrong here. I didn't see there being any costs going into the WordPress, unless there was some like widget or plugin that like costs money that the Ojai Arts website's using currently that I didn't see.
Correct.
It's not like it'd be like a waste of money to have two websites. One of them's already free.
But you can go and buy multiple domains and point
Yeah.
them all to the same website.
Yes, definitely.
That's your solution, I think.
There we go. Great. Okay. So what else is there to say? Well, Christine gave me this really, really great, what's it called? Graph, not graph. What was it called? He gave me the sheet of paper.
Flowchart.
There we go. It's right
Flowchart.
here. Of like, how the web pages might be organized. I don't know if it's very legible, but
For public art, yeah.
Just for public art, not for the whole thing.
just public art. I know, yeah, just for public art.
That's a flow chart.
It's a flow chart. There you go, flow chart. So this is just to show and say that this is going to take some time. It's not going to. I'm going to be working on this for a few months. So anyway, that's all I got to say. Anything? You guys have any questions for me?
I've got one question, but not for you. It's for Lewis, and it's related to the fantastic email that you sent, Eric. And thank you for doing so much work. I'm really excited that we've got somebody like yourself who's prepared to put so much effort and vision into this whole thing, and it's going to make a huge difference. So thank you so much for that. It's actually the second point on your email where we're talking about the cost of it, $144. That's whatever.
Oh, right.
But that's not the issue. You're talking about a donor, Luis. Are we permitted to have donors to sponsor something like this or not?
That's a very good question. I don't have the answer right offhand. I don't believe so, but I could definitely go ahead and look into it. My only recommendation is, and this is something I mentioned a little bit earlier to Chair Tosher and Commissioner Golden, who were on here just a little bit before the meeting started, was previously we had when the Arts Commission website first started, we had another commissioner pay for licensing and get the website started. That in return caused a little bit of issues for the city as far as when licensing expired, that commissioner wasn't always available to renew the licensing. And the other caveat to that was while that commissioner served, she was able to go ahead and make the updates. However, once she departed the commission, it wasn't as user-friendly for everybody else to go ahead and update. So my only concerns is, Eric, I think that you have great skills, and not everybody may have those skills. So let's say you ever move to a different committee or, decide to move on from the Arts Commission. I want to make sure that it's something that whoever's going to be able to take it on next is tech savvy to be able to do it, such as the current WordPress that the Arts Commission has. It's very easy if somebody wanted to go share an update, they could simply log into the system, create posts, and then just simply write the text versus creating plugins or it being a little bit more technical. So that's, I think if I had any concerns, those would really be it.
I can, if I ever like leave the committee or become too busy with something else, I can create before I leave a or even maybe as I'm creating the website, like a packet just basically detailing, like, for anyone who's just not very tech savvy, how to do certain things, like the sort of things that you need to do on a regular basis. I can create like a, I don't know, like 20-page like packet or something. It might be even like shorter than that, like 12. I find, and maybe that's just because I have used Squarespace a lot, I find it like very more user friendly than WordPress, because WordPress is almost like so trying to find a kind word, but like it's so outdated, it's kind of hard to understand now, you know?
Yeah.
So that's how I feel, but I can create a packet. Hopefully that'll help. And then, you know, I can do the transition of if I were to like leave the Arts Commission, then I just like someone who's already on the commission I can just train them on different things, and hopefully that'll be enough.
Christine, you have a question or
It's
comment?
public. Yeah, it's not a question. It's just a quick comment about the question that Eric had about donations. Just a kind of FYI, Luis, that question came up about 10 years ago when Barbara Hirsch wanted to do the Art 21 at the Playhouse. Could we take donations from the public? And the lawyer, our attorney, the city attorney said yes, but the money had to all go into the public art fund. Which, you know, that's okay with me, but just letting you know, we have done that, but the money all was channeled into the public art fund.
Oh, thank you.
And Louis, just one more thing with regard to sponsoring this website. There's different types of sponsorship. We're talking about sponsoring the website, not paying for it individually or whatever. Would the Ojai Chamber of Commerce, for example, be classed as the same as an individual or a business downtown with regards to wanting to sponsor that website?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that once again? I don't think I thoroughly understand.
Yeah, if somebody were to sponsor this website, Eric's building this fantastic website. Eric's taken so much time to build. Would the Ojai Chamber of Commerce, for example, be viewed in the same manner as a downtown business when they would say, "All right, I'm going to cover you $200 to get this website up and running," or would they be looked at in a different manner? Do you have any idea of how that would go?
I believe that they would be looked at in the same manner. That's just my initial thought, anyways, right off.
Well, that's mine too.
Yeah.
But they do have a link to the city, don't they? And I've received city funding before, so I'm wondering if they're even considered to be some sort of strange Ojai quasi-governmental organization at this point.
I have a question for you, Eric.
Yes.
The decision about the platform and switching to the new, most contemporary, up-to-date platform, can you start to build this without being on that platform first? If you started to build it on WordPress, is it like doubling or tripling your effort to then convert it over to a new platform? Do we need to, how does that work? I don't know, I'm sorry.
Oh, so I guess the question is, what would the process be from transferring information from one platform to another? Well, it would be, and I do feel like I think Christine mentioned this when we met, that the website needs some like copy editing. So, you know, I think I'd go through each of the pages, and, you know, before I start or anyone starts paying for Squarespace, maybe it'd be best for me to just go through each page and start just on a piece of paper, just like start organizing what the website might look like.
Okay.
And just going through and editing on like a Google Docs that can be shared, just like all of the writing for it, and, you know, the different buttons that there would be, and etc. And then we can just start kind of going from there.
Okay.
And from now, I can just be copy and pasting what's currently on the websites, putting them on Google Docs, and then like mixing them and adding more, and etc.
Along those lines, in terms of what's going to be on the website, Christine did her flow chart. I gave Eric knows what I want to be on the grants section. So for all of you committee chairs, if you could just email Eric with what you want your content to look like, what you want to be in your section for your content. So he has a whole overview and specifics of what he needs to include in the new website.
Please,
Right?
yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right. And also, Eric, you mentioned that maybe having a section again, like there used to be, with a little bio on every commissioner and kind of get that up to date.
Yeah, I think that having a little bio and a photo of everyone on the commission, I think would be really great. And I don't think that would be like self-aggrandizing. I think people want to see who their commissioners are and make you feel like there's a community you can be a part of.
If
So
I might,
that page.
if I might, this is Smitty, and Luis can maybe help me here, but I kind of, this is all, thank you, Eric, is all very exciting, and I'm getting a little air sick, but
yeah, I get lost in this video. You want me
but
to put it away?
no. But I assume, Luis, that at some point there were some standards that were developed for what is a government. I mean, what is a government? We are a government organization, have to have or should have. And if there's a template from the city for all the different commissions and that type of thing, like who we are, what we do with programs, our mission, contact, the bios of who is on the committee. It has the same fit and feel as the rest. I don't know if that's important to the city, if that means we have to try to take this sort of creative, sexy idea and morph it, or maybe there's actually two different websites. I guess I'm asking you, Luis, is James gonna be throwing a fit saying, oh no, you have to use this font, you have to use these kind of menus?
Oh, okay. Thank you for clarifying. No, not necessarily. I believe that there is something that developed as far as like guidelines on what would be permissible to put up and what couldn't be put up. And if possible, one of the things I would like to go ahead and do is Commissioner St. James Lopez is work with yourself and our IT technician to make sure that we're all on the same page. But yeah, no, I think that this is a great idea. I think that it's definitely possible. It's just making sure that, we work through the right channels and we're all on the same page to get it going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's very exciting, but every government page I've ever seen is extremely boring. And so I didn't know if we were required to have a boring page too.
No, we're the Arts Commission.
Exactly.
Not as boring as your fingernails there, Smitty.
Okay. Oh, you can see me. All I'm seeing is
you have a long lifeline, Smitty. Your lifeline's very long.
All I see is the flight simulator here.
Oh, weird.
As long as you know where your camera is, you can do what you want.
Okay, so I think
I see.
I think Eric, going forward, you can just keep us posted on your progress. And if anyone has any other ideas, things they would like included in the website, email Eric and he'll fit it in. And at some point, we will probably vote on that new, what's it called? The new platform.
Yeah.
Going ahead and using that. Yeah.
I honestly don't mind donating for the first year. But yeah, let's talk about that more and figure it out.
All right, we can talk about it more next month and then take a formal vote if need be, and it'll give Luis a chance to research what the if it's appropriate.
Yes.
I know they wouldn't let me buy plants for the Trimpan Arch, so that'll be a city manager's call. But anyway, thank you so much, Eric. You've done so much already. It's really exciting. That website was our lost cause, but now things are going to happen. Things are going to happen now. So it's very encouraging. Thank you.
No, thank you.
And then Nigel, awards is next on the agenda. I just want you to kind of update us as to where we are with Joe Somm and if you communicated with the city in terms of getting them to approve our nomination and what you would like the commissioners to do in terms of thinking about the Hope Fraser nominees.
Right, firstly, Eric, thanks for stop sharing your screen. That's awesome. now I can see everybody at the same time. So that was secondly, Luis, congratulations.
Thank you.
It's a tough time for you, so hopefully you're getting sleep. I'm sure all the commissioners join me in wishing you the very best of luck, and Liliana to have a fantastic life in the future. Oh, Smitty, he's such an artist. He made a heart with his hand. Right, with regards to the awards committee, Robin, thanks very much for turning Joe's bio around incredibly fast. For those of you who didn't know, I'd asked Robin to do it by Monday. When I messaged her on Thursday, I had it 30 minutes later. So that's just brilliant. Thanks very much for that and for doing the great job with Barbara as well. With regard to Joe's his award is scheduled on the commission, the council meeting at June 13th. There is a 50-50 chance, according to Mr. Vega, that meeting will be cancelled, as is typical with that particular meeting in any given year, because of holidays and this, that, and the other. Of course, we're in COVID time, so I don't know what's going to happen, but it's scheduled for the 13th of June. If it's not then, it will be awarded on the second meeting in July or the first meeting in August. Lewis, have I got that correct?
Correct. Yeah, and those are tentative dates. But yeah, we definitely have brought it to the attention of city manager, who works with the mayor to go ahead and put together the meeting agendas for council meetings. And one of the things I would like to go ahead and note is we actually just picked up Joseph's award. So we actually have his physical award in hand here. Yep.
So I think at that point, Marcy, I can confirm that the council are okay with it. And then we can go from there. With regards to an update on the Hope Fraser, I haven't yet met with Robin or Christine, essentially because I've contacted neither one of them to have a meeting. But I shall do that tomorrow and see if we can get together. There's no urgency on the Hope Fraser, as you're aware. But Robin and Christine, I'll flick you out an email tomorrow or the day after to see if we can all get together over coffee and discuss what we need to about the awards, not just for the Hope Fraser this year, but moving forwards and how we want to do that as a group, and what we want to recommend to the Full Arts Commission. So that's it. I'm done. Off we go.
Perfect, Nigel. Perfect. Then we'll move on to public art and Christine Golden.
Okay. Well, I'm going to kind of do A and B together, which Louise, could you put up the garden sign and the etching on the boulder, just so everyone knows what I'm talking about on the screen?
Sure thing. Just bear with me. If you'd like to go ahead and continue, I
will while you're doing that. So you're going to see in a minute the two restoration projects at Clough Vista Park. I'm working. I can't say I'm working fast. I'm working slowly. And right now what I'm doing is I'm gathering as much information as I can about how the artwork, this first picture that you see here that Louise has up, there are 5 gardens at Clough Vista Park. And this one, you can see the sign is all but faded. It's just the sun has really faded it out, which is understandable. The park opened on Ojai Day in 2001, so 20 years ago. And we need to restore these signs. Hope Fraser originally did the signs, and she has passed on. There is no contract with the artist. There is just the work to be done. And I understand that before my brother passed, that he was a landscape architect for the city. He did many, many projects throughout the city. And he had already started to do the drawings to redo the signs at Clough Vista Park. But his work is not available to me, unfortunately. So we're kind of starting from scratch. I would like to table the recommendation that we assign any amount of public art funds to this project, because quite frankly, I've run into some roadblocks on this, and I couldn't give you an estimate. I thought I would be able to give an estimate of what this project would cost tonight, but I can't. But that's one of the two. The other one that Louise is going to put up here is the very, very large sandstone boulder, which sits in Overlook Circle at Clough Vista Park. And you can see just by looking at the photo that the bottom third, you can barely read it anymore. And so I met with Dennis Shives, and Dennis Shives has done restorations, stone restorations for the city of Ojai. He restored the Lion's Head Fountain on the pergola. He also worked on the museum piece, which is the eagle. The young man standing with the eagle. That wasn't finished when the artist died, and Dennis was one of the artists that helped finish that piece out. So I met with him. I was really interested to know how this was done, how this etching was done, and he was very sure that they used a rubber stencil to create the image, and that the rubber was flexible enough to apply to the rock. You can tell from the picture that the rock is not flat and smooth. And that's purposeful. I know enough from my brother and conversations with him that the way it looks with the uneven texture, that's all part of the impression that was important to Tom in creating this, because he worked with Julie Tumamet on the wording. He worked on what the font would be, the size of it, the whole thing. He was completely it was his project. So he would be the one who would have this rubber stencil, which Dennis said, if you have the rubber stencil, it gets reapplied and then it's sandblasted. And then because it's not that the words are popping out, it's that they're indented. But once again, I haven't given up. It's possible. I know other individuals who were figurative in this project, and I'm in the process of contacting them to find out if anyone has this rubber stencil. Having said that, Dennis did say, and he's very knowledgeable about stone, that because this is sandstone and the park is up high, which you all know when you drive by Clough Vista that you're looking up, that the wind up there is what has caused the erosion, and that he feels that the erosion is going to reoccur every 3 to 4 years. So to restore it the way it looks now, we have to consider the cost of that, because it will be ongoing to restore it on a periodic basis. Dennis did throw out that there's a plaque. You can't see it in this picture, but it's not part of the artwork. It's a plaque that, well, the city can argue with the Land Conservancy over who should be the ones to restore that plaque, because that also is greatly weathered and not in good shape. It's a very small plaque, but it actually orients a visitor to the park to see what the various mountains are. It points to Sulphur Mountain, it points to Chief Peak, it points to the Topas, it points to Nordhoff Peak. It's really, really nice. And so Dennis said, if you don't want to redo it all the time, you could consider a plaque there. I'm not sure that, I have to think like my brother thinks when I consider that, and I'm not sure that he would not want. In fact, I can tell you right now what my brother would have done as the artist. And his office was right across the street at the time that the park opened. And I know what he would have done. He would have taken that rubber stencil and he would have sandblasted it and not charged anybody a penny. He just would have done it, just like he sat and babysat the oak tree at the bottom of the park that was dying and brought it back to life, and did so many things like that. The bridge, Bostrom's Bridge at Libby Park, when he showed me that, he was so proud of it. He pulled a piece of sandpaper out of his pocket and began to sand it as he was talking about it. That was just the guy he was. So, I'm getting a little teary here, but these restorations are very personal to me. I had already retired as the principal of Matilaha, and Tom asked me if I would come help him straighten out. He knows how organized I am. He said, will you come help me straighten out my office? So I was actually helping him in his office while this park was going up. So I have a little more history of Clough Vista than maybe some of the other public art pieces, and it's personal to me. So I just would like to table, there's no way at this point that I can make a suggestion on what the cost of this is going to be. I need to do a lot more information seeking, and I'm really enjoying doing that. And then I'd like to come back. I don't know if it'll be next month or it'll be 2 months from now, because there's a whole list of people that I have begun to contact about this. So any questions about those art restorations from anybody?
I think that makes a great deal of sense. I think that we still need to vet this in the Public Art Committee before we can make recommendations. So I think that's exactly right.
Yeah, I'm sure the Public Art Committee will be discussing that I'll bring forward what I am learning and what I am finding out. And but all of you, every one of you, not just the Public Art Committee, will have an opportunity to listen to what we recommend, but to also have your own thoughts and ideas about it. So thanks, Christine. You're absolutely right. So if there aren't any other questions, I'll move on. Nigel?
It's an observation as much as anything else. Christine was right about contacting the artist when we wanted to move even the sign toward the poppy fountain. And as with this, it seems to me that we really have to take into account what the artist's original intent was and not move too far away from that, because in this particular case, we can't contact the artist because he happens to not be alive anymore. And so we need to find a way to honor what his vision was for this without going too far away from it. And Christine, you're talking about rocks, you're a rock. You've done an incredible job in public art, and I know that particular park is of remarkable importance to you. And having walked through that park plenty of times prior to being on this commission, and plenty of times after, I had no idea how important that park is to Ojai. And so we should be doing everything to keep it and retain its original features as much as we possibly can. So thank you for your work with the public art. You do a fantastic job. You're the institutional knowledge of this commission, and you're an absolute rock. But again, we should just be looking to retain what the original intent was, as far as I'm concerned. But it's interesting to note that the rubber protects what you don't want to blast away. So that's nice and interesting news.
I found it absolutely fascinating to learn that. It was interesting to talk to Dennis and to hear his idea about it. But that's just that was just my first stop. So and I really like to share as it goes along with all of you. And not just with all of you, but we have a very active public presence. The public watches us, and I think it's interesting for them to learn what these details are. Anybody else on that? And if not, I'm going to turn it to Marcy, who's going to give a very short update on Trimp and Sound Arch.
Very short. It's still there. No, the plants have been installed. The boulders have been installed. It's up and working. We're going to, we've got the QR code plaque we need to make and install on one of the rocks. And then we have to have the city remove the existing plaque with instructions because it will be obsolete once have got that QR code up on the boulder there. So Public Works has been incredibly busy. They've been really, really great helping us with this project. So we're just chipping away at it. And we're almost to the finish line. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
I'm going to add to that. I didn't know this, Marcy. I forgot to mention it to you when I saw you on the tour that I gave to the Women's Committee of the Ojai Music Festival. I've given 2 separate tours. And Tuesday was the second tour. And when I walked through Libby Park, the new fence has been installed.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Okay. Yes, I know. I forgot to mention that to you. And it really looks nice. Luis, I don't know why the fence posts are wobbly and if that's okay. They're still a little wobbly, but it looks really nice. The rope is much thicker and heavier. And if any of you are walking through Libby Park, walk by the arch and take a look, and you will not be able to tell where the new rocks and the new plants are. The way Public Works did that, and with Marcy's help and with Alma's help, who is now an assistant in Public Works, it looks like it was always there. Looks like it was always there. So it's moving along. That's it.
Public Art Committee. Marcy, I've just got
complete.
Sorry, Marcy, can I just ask something? Luis, the water fountains in Libby Park, are they owned by the city?
They are, yes.
Okay. It just occurs to me that if we can't paint any more utility boxes, then there's a few water fountains that we could use for the paint box project moving forward. Just throwing that in there for a discussion at a later date.
It'll come back. It's a great idea. I think it's a great idea. We'll bring it back. Not yet. Not tonight.
No, not tonight. Just throwing it in there.
Fun stuff.
Okay. The next item on our agenda is the municipal collection, and that is those are the two Christines, or Christine squared, or Christine
Right.
times two.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'll take that. So what's referred to as swimming for mysterious reasons, except I guess that it's fish that appear to be swimming. In fact, the work is a 2012 donation. It's called Swingingly, and the artist is Margaret Garrett. It's a print. And it was in need of restoration. And so Marcy and I brought it into the framer to get an estimate. It had certain crinkle damage and could not be framed in the same way. And the suggestion was to simply mat it so that it's aesthetically pleasing, which is what we recommend. And it was a relatively low cost estimate. So we're pleased that that can be done. There is a point I want to make about this acquisitions aspect of the commission, and that is that we're obligated as stewards to treat all works equally. And so whether we have the Mona Lisa or a doodle from an unknown artist, we have to treat them with equal dignity and respect in terms of conservation and obligations. Now we can deaccession those, of course, but deaccession should take the same amount of considered deliberative decisions that accessioning should take. And so my recommendation is that we very carefully look at what we take in, because we're going to have to spend money conserving, restoring, and displaying these works. So with that, I know one agenda item is to approve taking money toward that framing. So I'll now turn it back to Marcy.
It's in your packet. You can see the new frame we selected. The existing frame was a metal frame, not very attractive. Not to well, I guess I am disparaging. It was framed at Michael's. And so we have vastly improved the quality of the frame, and the mat will conceal all the different crinkles. And if you look at your packet, you can see what we picked out. The color's not quite accurate for the matting. It's whiter than what's showing up. And we were given a discount, and the invoice is included in your packet. $128 would be the cost of with UV protected glass. So it's an improvement on the glass as well. So we would just need to take a vote on that expenditure. If someone wants to make a motion.
I move.
I second. Roll call, Luis.
With that, excuse me, I was on mute. I didn't realize I was on mute. With that, we'll go ahead and do a roll call. Chair Tosher?
Yes.
Commissioner West?
Yes.
Commissioner Golden?
Yes.
Commissioner Steiner?
Yes.
Commissioner Gerber? I believe that's a yes, but you may be on mute.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. Vice Chair Chisholm? And I think that's a yes, but also on mute.
You're on mute, Nigel.
Yes.
And Commissioner St. James Lopez.
Yes.
Good, motion passes.
Great. Thank you. Christine, did you have more to discuss?
Oh, so the next point, actually, I thought Christine was going to take this, but I will. And that relates to moving funds from some buckets into other buckets. So as you see on FB, the recommendation is to consider allocating unspent funds from the City Art Gallery, the City Art Museum, and the Public Art Committee to the Municipal Collection Committee for the purpose of art acquisitions. And again, I will emphasize that we take very seriously that issue of taking in works of quality. So that is the recommendation. Any discussion?
I move that we do that.
Okay.
I second.
Okay. So with that, we'll go ahead and do the roll call. Commissioner Gerber. Okay. That's a yes on mute.
Yes.
Okay. Vice Chair Chisholm.
Yes.
Commissioner St. James Lopez.
Yes.
Commissioner Steiner.
Yes.
Commissioner Golden.
Yes.
Commissioner West.
C.
And Chair Tosher.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, very good. Thank you. So now we move to FC, and now with this enormous purse we now have for acquisitions, we in the Public Art Committee discussed the recommendation to acquire a work of Joe Sohm, whom, as you know, you have just to whom you have just given an award. And so that is the recommendation, to acquire a Sohm photograph. And if there are funds left over, to consider a second acquisition. Any questions? Do people know who Joe Sohm is? I think we know by virtue of Smitty's discussion in our last meeting. We seem to have, in terms of what's in the city's collection, where we don't have, well, we do have some photographs, but we don't have lots of photographs, and it does seem appropriate. And what do others think?
Have we had discussion with the artist? Is there something we have in mind? Are we going to see it before we vote, or do we need to vote?
No, I don't. I think what you will do is, if you're in agreement, is authorize the Public Art Committee to go meet with the artist and to make a proposed selection with your blessing that we would have money to make an acquisition and then to follow through on that.
Let me just say, it would be actually the Municipal Collection Committee that would be looking to select a piece. And historically, the people on acquisitions, which is a sub job or task for the Municipal Collection Committee, have always been considered that they would be able to make a selection like that. Normally, it could come back, but we're under a real tight frame here because we're trying to spend down this money by the end of June. So we have to act on this right away. So it's a little truncated, this process. We didn't realize that we could pull some money that was left over from this year's budget. But when it dawned on us we thought, oh my gosh, wouldn't that be great to get a Joe Sohm? We're just giving him the Lifetime Achievement. He's internationally known photographer. He's got 3 pieces hanging up right now over at the museum, which any of you can go and see. And I don't think he takes a bad photograph. I mean, they're just all, look at his book, Visions of America. Look it up if you don't know it. And I think with Christine's expertise, and Marcy has a great art eye. I'm an artist, that you can count that we would pick something appropriate for the collection. I mean, I hope you would have that confidence in us that we would come back and what we would show you that you would. Nigel, I think, said his breath was taken away when he saw Joe's work. Am I correct?
You're very much correct, as a matter of fact, on a lot of different levels, and not just because of the quality of the image, but for the meaning of the image behind it. My question is very simply this: is how does one go about choosing a piece? I presume you have to contact him and say, which pieces would you like or would you consider for purchase by Ojai? And one would hope that he would be very generous with the pieces that he would like to provide to us. Is that how you vision that happening?
That's one way of doing it. In this particular case, we could do something that was done once before with a piece of art, and that was that the chair of the acquisitions saw the art at a museum show and just purchased it from the museum. And Joe has three paintings at the museum, and that's a great place to start, in addition to going and seeing him as well. I mean, I think all of the above.
May I suggest that that's a limited view if you're just looking at three of them?
All of the above, right, which is why I said all of the above. Place to start. It
seems to me that a decent way of going about this is a way that you may want to consider is just to tell him.
Oh yes.
We want to buy a piece of your art.
Oh yeah, we will.
Can you suggest something that you would be proud to have in the municipal collection? And I am very aware that I pronounce that word differently to you Americans, but something in the municipal collection that we may consider purchasing. And I would imagine you're going to get a really wide swath of opportunity there, some of which we're not even aware of, but is very meaningful to him. And as a recipient of the Lifetime Achievement Award, I think it's important for him to have a piece that he wants to be shown in this town that represents his breadth of work that also relates to this town, as against somebody just going in and saying, oh, that's a nice photograph, let's have that one. Does that make any sense to anybody?
I think that is exactly how it has worked in the past, Nigel. Yeah. Marcy, when you and Linda acquired the Karen Lewis, isn't that how it worked? You went to see her and she was, yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, and just moving
forward. In this case, we always see a finished, printed, matted, framed piece, or you look at JPEGs on the computer.
Oh, I expect that we will go see the work in person. And I think to answer Nigel's question, I think we would proceed the same way any collector would proceed. And certainly if Mr. Sohm has a gallery, we should learn what's going on with his gallery. I think we should speak with him in person if he's available. I think we certainly should see what's at the museum exhibition. And I think we should examine what's currently in the city's collection and make a determination about what we think fits best, keeping in mind the caveat I said before, which is that quality has to be paramount.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic answer. And that's exactly what we want to hear, isn't it? And just moving on from that, just expanding the conversation a little bit larger. Just looking at that Lifetime Achievement Award now, and you guys may or may not have the function or what area of art the Lifetime Achievement Award recipients are in. But for me, without spending too much time thinking about it, if we're talking about getting the Joe in there, it wouldn't be beyond the bounds of my thought process to consider going back through the Lifetime Achievement Award nominees for artists or photographers, whomever we could hang, and see if we couldn't purchase some of those down the road if that were appropriate, because we have awarded them a Lifetime Achievement Award. And it seems to me that it would only be right that we should have something of them hanging in the municipal gallery too. But that's a conversation for another time, just throwing that in there.
Well, it actually is good that you bring that up now, because knowing how Joe prices his work from looking at the pieces at the museum, it's very possible we're going to have a chunk of change left over and we can do a second acquisition. And in your packet is the municipal collection nomination list. And there are photographers in there who we do not have work by. That Donna Granata. We don't have a work by Donna Granata.
She is a Lifetime Achievement Award recipient, isn't she?
I don't know that Donna ever got it. I think she.
Well, I can tell you. I got the answer to that right here.
Yeah, I know, right in your handbook, because I know everybody went and picked up their handbook, right? So she's a photographer in that list, and so is Cindy Pateau Burton. We don't have her in our collection. So these are all people to look at, and I know that Christine has something in mind that she would like to look at, and that's what we would be doing. Again, a little rushed because of the budget timeline, but come back to you in June with the folks that that you are interested in, are they available? What would they cost? As well as what Christine, who is really, in my mind, the expert on this among all of us.
And
what she would
and thank goodness for that. But I can confirm, because I've got my book, my handy book, which you may not be able to see, right here. Donna Granata did in fact receive the Lifetime Achievement in the Arts Award in 2012. So there you go.
Yeah, so we don't have a piece by her. It's a thought.
It's just a thought, right?
Yeah. Well, the Muni collection, we'll get together, and right, Christine, and we'll talk about all this.
That's correct.
And as regard to whether we trust you, absolutely, you've got my trust in whatever you guys decide, and whatever you think. You're far more qualified than I am on that.
Thank you.
Christine, is that a wrap?
Oh, absolutely. I think we have our marching orders, and we will report back to you. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Next, I just wanted Smitty to give us a brief update on our piano project.
Okay. Luis, do you have your notes too in front of you by chance?
I don't right in front of me.
Okay. All right. I'll do my best then. It seems like everyone got so excited about this because it's kind of cool that, we got maybe a little cart in front of the horse. Luis and I spoke to 3 other cities who had done piano projects. Ventura, who did it through their Downtown Ventura Partners organization. It's their business development district. And we got some details from them. We spoke to it was a volunteer for the city of Santa Monica. Pasadena. But in between, we spoke to a woman who worked for the city of Coronado, and that's where we got our best information and our most information. She copied their piano program after Fort Collins, which seemed to be a kind of a best in show in terms of people who have done this. And they've had, all 3 cities had tremendous success with it. But contrary to sort of your gut feel, it isn't about getting a piano. It isn't really about where it goes. The important considerations to make are a piano needs care. All right. So a standard seems to be that it has to be locked, it has to be covered. Coronado and the other successful cities turned it into public art with a wrapping technique that may be donated, or they put some sort of wrap around both the piano and the stool, which has to go with it too. The bench is a proper term for the piano bench that goes with it too. They found sponsors who were responsible each day, business sponsors, to open it and then to close it. And because rarely was a business open from like 10 a.m. to 9 p.m., it was sometimes 2 businesses that would be responsible for doing that. So they had a couple I think Coronado had 3. Does that sound right, Luis? They had at least 3 pianos.
Correct.
And they've done them in different locations. In one place, which was at the Hotel Coronado, if you're familiar with it, they put it under a kind of a covered place. And because they're there all the time, they were able to both open and close it. And they were really happy with that, but that was like a special situation where it was a good public place, and there was a sponsor who was there all the time. But in the other locations, one of them was a public space. I've heard from several people on the commission who have said that they see the park or the bowl or gazebo or something like that's being a good spot too. Where a place like that, you'd need someone who has to actually, because that's not a business, you'd have to have someone physically, businesses willing, a sponsor who's willing to go out there every day to lock it, unlock it, cover it, uncover it. Covers have locks on them too. And then there were places where it was on the street, like right by a business or between businesses. This would be more like something that might be in one of the public areas near the arcade. So just as we move forward, we don't have anything budgeted right now, but it does look like it costs a few $1,000s to have it proper. Some cases, the cities were able to have a local piano technician company tune the piano and care for it. It needs other caring too. The art itself in at least Coronado, I know they also have a public art fund that they were able to turn that into, or have a contest and design contest for wrapping the piano. And I think they said it would last a couple years, and then they had to rewrap it too. But apparently the price might be half again as much. But I think she said it was maybe $1,500 to create that. I'm guessing, so we are talking about a few $1,000s to do this. The sponsors may come up with that, but even with the sponsors donating to have a piano near them, or have their name on it, or they all had a plaque with who the sponsor was, and maybe a description of what the artwork was on it as well. So that's just kind of the update. And I wanted to just let you know what sort of the best practices were out there as we all continue to brainstorm and look for a great piano and look for a great place for it to go. But maybe most importantly, for business people in the community who are willing to either financially support it, or to be the laborers who do the day-to-day care for the piano.
Smitty, for your next steps, were you planning on approaching some of the businesses?
I've been talking to some all over,
interest?
and I know Nigel has been as well. I don't know if anyone else has been as well. So I hang out over there in the arcade. So, so I just encourage everybody to talk to people, because we're going to probably have to come up with a budget. The other considerations, I do need to mention, because probably my favorite spot isn't going to be a good spot in that arcade party in the back, because it may actually compete. I've been performing at the back of the Vine, and they have music over at the Monte Grappa, and they have patio music over at this White Sage. So there needs to be that this could be an opportunity to pull everyone together to do something really special that everyone could share, or it could be an opportunity to make, feuds with your neighbors. So we have to be cognizant of that as well.
Does anyone else have any questions for Smitty? No? Okay, thank you.
Yes, me. Hang on, Marcy. Hello.
Yeah. Were you waving your hand? I didn't.
Yeah, it was there. I do have very small hands, but that's a conversation for another time. So the placement of it is critical, as a matter of fact. The area that Smitty is talking about is fantastic, but one of the problems with it is also one of the benefits of it. And Smitty and I have had this conversation a number of times. And as a business owner, I look at it from a very different perspective as a musician. Is that, yes, it's fantastic to have something that people can use in that environment. And it's also terrible because you can almost guarantee that if you have music out the back and somebody's banging around on that piano, it's going to create massive problems. Mm-hmm. Even if there is no music and somebody's banging around on a piano and you're trying to have a nice night on a patio, whichever restaurant you are, that's probably not something that you want. And people will bang around on this if it's not closed at the right time. And so you need it in a place where if somebody does choose to do that, then it's not closed. It's not going to interfere with business. That's number one. Smitty is also aware that we do have a piano, and we found one. And in fact, Smitty knows that piano and is recorded on that piano, and it's a good piano. So before we jump off this subject, I've been in touch with Greg at the city. This piano is ours if we need it. In order for Greg at Public Works to go and collect that piano and take it into city and protect it until we decide what we want to do. If we want to do anything, then we need to actually authorize that to happen. Greg needs permission from us to go collect the piano. Now, what I would say is this, is that we don't have to agree to do anything with it. We just have to agree that we're going to continue to discuss it because we have a piano. It's a solid piano. Smitty can speak to it. I'm not a piano player, although I try every day, and I'm still rubbish, and I'll be rubbish for the rest of my life. But Smitty knows this piano well. It's ideal for what we need. And so I would like, with your permission, for us to take a vote on whether we can actually just take this piano, which is what we need if we choose to move forward with this project. Nothing more than that we can take it and the city can just hold it in storage for us. so that part of it is taken care of. And Smith is exactly right. Getting the piano is the least important thing about this whole project, even though that is the focus of it. But we do have to have one if we're going to move forward. Smitty, have you got anything to add to that?
No, I think what I said kind of stands on its own. I don't know why. Is there expense involved in this? Why do we have to?
There is no expense involved in it, but where it's stored right now, it's outside, it's in the elements, and it's not going to be stored properly. With the city, they will store it properly and make sure that if it's a year from now when we decide whether we want to do this or whether we don't, the piano is in the same condition today that it is a year from now. That's all.
Okay, a couple of things.
If I may, my worry is a bit of the same type of worry I have about the city's art collection, and that is if we take something in, it still is going to be an expense for the city. I'm not sure we're authorized to ask the city to take it in, but I have a real worry about white elephants and expense of city governments. And if we have to ask them to hold something for a year, for example, while we decide whether it's appropriate to expend any money on this project when there are other priorities, I'm not sure that's a prudent decision.
Louise, could you confirm that there's a space in Public Works that doesn't cost anything because the space is just sitting there that we can throw a piano into?
Unfortunately, I can't say definitively. I would imagine so.
I can confirm that.
Nigel, thanks. Nigel, you've explained it very, very fully. I think we do need to know for sure that there is a space, that the space won't be compromising some other things or some other space or costing anything. It does feel a bit cart before the horse to me as well, frankly.
I did receive an email from Greg Grant, the Public Works Director.
I just asked
that there is a space available, that he can store that piano, and all he's waiting for is for us to say, go get it. That's it.
Well, I'm just going to pipe in here and say that I think, I'm sorry, Robin, I thought you were done. Okay. All right. I think it's moot about taking a vote because it wasn't agendized to take a vote. So I don't think we can take a vote anyway tonight. We'd have to put it on the agenda in order to take a vote. But it's a really interesting conversation for all of us, and I've learned a lot. So I appreciate all the comments and, something to really chew on, especially Christine, what you said. I hadn't thought about it that way. So thank you for that input.
So let's put it on the agenda for next time, and I will get Greg to put what he said in writing. And that should fix that problem, right?
Well, I would also like Greg to think about it if he could foresee any possible need for that storage space in the future, or that's been sitting there vacant for years and years. It's not likely to be needed at any point in the future. You know what I mean? Right now it's available, but
I suspect that if he says it's available, it's going to be available.
Okay, we just need a definitive. Not I suspect. We just need a definitive understanding of the space. As you said, the piano is the least important thing. I saw one sitting out on the road on Gridley the other day. I have one I'm willing to give. So let's not put the cart before the horse. I appreciate your passion, Nigel. We don't have to talk about it anymore. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. I'll always say, yeah, Robin, you're right. You're not wrong. I will get that information for you and anybody else who needs it. We'll make sure it's in the next agenda packet. And yeah, I am a bit passionate about this because I think we need to do it. However, and Smitty will tell you, all pianos are not created equal, and this particular one is built.
Yes, we've heard this, Nigel. We heard it. We got it.
Jolly good.
Okay. All right. Very much. Thank you. Moving on. Speaking of future agenda items, I'm open to receiving recommendations for future agenda items.
Piano.
I got that already.
I didn't get an update on the Channel 10 thing or anything.
You know what?
I didn't watch the council meeting.
Louise, can you tell us what happened with Channel 10 approval?
Sure. So during the last commission meeting, City Council approved for the Arts Commission to utilize Channel 10 for public relation purposes and educational purposes. So we got the green light to go. So one of the things I will go ahead and do is work with James Hahn to get the pilot video up on Channel 10. And then I'll also go ahead and work with the PR committee. I'll go ahead and share the template that the city uses for any word announcements, and then any video content that the commission wishes to submit, would just need to be submitted through myself to vet and then put up on Channel 10.
All right. And
I'm sorry, go ahead, Marcy.
Oh,
Can I
no,
just say,
Christine.
me, it's really, Smitty, could we please make sure that the credits are correct on that before it goes up?
Just send me whatever you have. I just have what someone gave me. Yeah.
I would also,
Okay.
Marcy, just quick,
Yeah,
Rob?
well, it's on the brochure credits are correct. But in
Okay.
terms of the authorship, that's just me. Single, I did it. But there's a committee that I think should get the credit as well. Not just me, but the whole committee that worked on that, the ad hoc committee. It's all on the back of the brochure. You still have your brochure?
great.
Yes.
I'm sure they can work it out. Yeah.
It's in my
wanted to
new
say-
handbook.
Just make sure you fly it by me before it goes up there. And I don't know if it's too much trouble to correct the pronunciation. That's okay too.
When we
Let it
talk
go.
about that
I love what
offline,
you did.
great.
I love what you did.
Well, I
Okay.
just wanted going forward, like PR and putting this up. Do we have to wait a month before we tell the public that this is running? Is it going to be on a daily or weekly or every hour? Those are the kind of questions. We don't have to go
Put
to
it on
council for vote for any of that, do we? Louise?
That's worth discussing. And I just wanted to say the art grant we gave to the OSA, the videos that they're making with a professional videographer who happens to be Pam Grau's son-in-law are amazing. And those would be great to have up there as well.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So
Can
can
we
we, in
put
the
it up-
future, Louise, do I hear you say we can just go ahead and do stuff? I mean, we don't have to go get a vote from the council every time or what?
That is correct. We don't need to go get a vote from the council every time. However, whatever is submitted would need to be vetted before it goes on the air.
That's through city staff or the manager or something
Correct.
like that?
Correct. That would be through myself in consultation with the city manager.
So Robin,
Can we throw Smitty into that community as well?
I don't care.
That's the wrong answer, mate.
Absolutely.
Marcy?
Robin,
Mhm.
that was, those OSA videos were produced as a result of the grant money they received from the Arts Commission.
Yep.
So I would think that by running those videos, we're not promoting those artists. We're promoting the work product of from our grant.
Exactly.
So can you
sounds like
submit
the
those,
manager
Robin? Can you
can,
get those
just make
to
that decision.
Louise? Can you get those to
Yes,
Louise?
I'll tell Pam to do that. Mhm.
Uh-huh. Okay.
This is fabulous.
Can we show Pulp Fiction too?
Smitty, I'll be in touch with you.
Okay.
Thank you.
No,
Thank
the
you.
only reason I mentioned Smitty's involvement in this, and Smitty, you're going to hate me for this, is that as we get more content, and there's going to be a heap of content over the next year or two, it's going to be important as to how this stuff is actually rolled out and in what order. So that's we probably need somebody on this commission to have a hand in that. But that's a conversation for another time or offline, as Robin
Right.
says.
Right. Well, right now we only have a few things we're talking about it for content. So I think we could roll with it. All right. Louise, would you like to give us your staff liaison report?
Absolutely. Once it comes to project subject to public art, there's really not much to go ahead and report. Nothing really has changed since last month. In reference to the public art fund, there has been a change, and that change is what the commission voted last month to take any pending monies from unspent projects and move them back into the public art fund. Additionally, I did reformat the layout of the spreadsheet that I normally provide. Hopefully this is a little bit easier to go ahead and read. But with that being said, the current fund balance is $41,197.83. Um,
Whoa.
mhm.
What happened to the 100,000? What are you, 41,000?
Well, yeah,
Well, that's so that includes the deducted.
Minus the 80.
Correct.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. All right.
no, can I
Heart
can I
attack.
jump
Yeah,
in here, please?
Robin? Yeah, Robin.
Yeah, I think, yes, exactly, Christine. Christine G, you raised the right issue. I think it is premature to have that on there, Louise. Actually, I get where you're going. But it's a very speculative, in fact, conceptual idea that we passed. So I would say it's misleading to have it on this document, which is actual money that we're encumbering, spending, etc.
Yeah.
So I just actually think it should go back, as you say, Christine, to the 100,
No,
whatever.
I agree.
Not what I was saying.
Absolutely. What I'd like to say about this, Louise, said I looked at
the
the
agenda.
budget as well. And I just want to note that the motion that was passed, and you were only 5 in number at that time, but the motion that passed in March was, quote, a motion to conceptually agree to the idea that the commission would take a minimum of $80,000, et cetera, for that earmarked, recommended speculative use. And so I agree with Robin that putting it in the pending, debit pending column is misleading. It could well be in the notes column, and I think that would make a great deal of sense. And the note could say that in March, the commission took the action to conceptually agree to the idea of that amount of money for the climate park. I think that would be a more accurate representation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think that makes sense. I think
For an
that,
asterisk,
having that notation,
footnote.
like you said, under the note section, I think that that's appropriate to go ahead and do, because we show that that's something that the commission agreed on, but it doesn't, it won't mislead on the total balance. So,
yeah,
yes.
Louise, I think that's fine. But I would note that 5 people were on the commission that all voted at that time. Mm-hmm. And even if there were 7 people on the commission, that is a quorum nonetheless.
No,
so
absolutely.
It's irrelevant how many people voted for it. So
no,
5 is good.
Absolutely.
But I agree with Christine. I agree with Robin. That's what we should do with it.
So just so I'm clear, it's not that there will be the called out last column of the 80,000, but rather there will be the budget in its entirety in the notes section that there was an agreement to conceptually agree to the idea of earmarking a certain portion for the climate park. Is that?
Christine, thank you. I like that suggestion. I like that way of doing it. It makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Yeah, and that's something I could definitely go ahead and do for the next meeting around. I'll make sure to go ahead and move that over.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that, Robin.
Perfect.
Yeah, and just to kind of put parentheses around this or whatever, until there is more than a memorandum of understanding about the climate park, what Christine and Robin are saying does make sense, because it's not a done deal that they're going to go forward. Once they do, and we have a meeting and we have more information, then we can revisit this topic at that time. So great suggestion, Robin. Great suggestion, Christine. Thank you.
Thank you. Then we can go around the Hollywood Square blocks and see if there are any commissioner comments would like to add anything to our discussions tonight. Also, Smitty.
I'd just like to say thank you all for your time, and to your new members. I apologize. This COVID thing it's been more difficult to meet in person. I'm breaking out of that right now. So the things that I was responsible for tonight, we will have committee meetings on in the future, because these meetings should be just to take action. I understand that, and I look forward to working with those who are that I share committee positions with. Thank you.
Thank you, Smitty. Robin?
I just want to say a big congratulations to Luis, who has
Thank you.
a new baby, a new love in his life.
Thank you. Very much appreciated. Thank you.
Can we sing?
No, that's okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Christine Steiner.
I have no comments. I do have a question of Luis, and again, I share your congratulations, and I can only imagine how busy you have been. I know you were going to research the question of whether the Pledge of Allegiance is required, and perhaps we can revisit that at an upcoming meeting.
Yeah, absolutely. That's and I apologize. I didn't share an update earlier, but that's something that it is going to go ahead and take up some of my time as well as the city attorney's time. So if it's something that the commission would like to go ahead and explore entirely, it's something we could go ahead and do, but it would need to go on an agenda item as an agenda item.
All right.
Thank you. I'd like to see that.
Yeah, I would too.
Okay. You guys didn't watch the city council meeting from this
I
week,
did.
you?
Let's move. Let's keep moving along here.
Well, it relates to this, that we have some community complaints that the Arts Commission is not exactly enthusiastic about the Pledge of Allegiance and questioning the requirement that we recite the Pledge of Allegiance. So just that you're aware that there is that the community is watching us, and there are people unhappy about that. And I just want to say that I don't know if we want to, stir up a hornet's nest over this. I personally have no problem reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I don't know, what the objections are, but I think we could talk about this privately. Your individual preferences.
I do think it's great that the community is watching, absolutely. And I do think it's great that we would have a thoroughgoing debate about the question. I don't think we can do that without knowing whether it is or is not required. But I do think it's terrific that we have this broad-based interest in the discussion.
May I suggest that you would agendize this, Marcy, because actually it should not be a private discussion because of the Brown Act. We really do need to discuss it in public and full, and perhaps go on the agenda next month, and that will give Luis time to come back with the city's position on it, and then all of us can.
Well, I just know that.
Marcy, are you going around people asking for their comments, or is this just general chat right now?
No. This is the commissioner comments. Yeah.
Yeah, so we really can't discuss it now, but we could next month.
No, but there are commissioners who approached me privately and said, for various personal reasons, I don't want to be called on to recite the Pledge of Allegiance, and I respect.
Yeah, and I'll put this out right now. There, I'm one of them.
Right.
But so it's a conversation for another time, and those are personal reasons. But I don't think this is the time to be having that conversation.
Well, that's why I don't think that this discuss. I mean, it puts individuals in a very awkward position.
But we've had this
putting
conversation.
all of you as an individual, like you, Nigel, Christine, you're already out of the closet with your opinion about that.
Marcy, I think the question is whether it goes on the agenda, and I think the consensus is yes, it goes on the agenda. I think
it'll be on the agenda. It'll be on the agenda.
It absolutely should be on the agenda.
Yeah, it'll be on the agenda, and in the interim, Luis will find out. The city attorney is working on it, and we'll get background information about it.
But I also agree with Marcy that we got bigger fish to fry. But it should be on the agenda. It should be out there to the public. People should know what we're thinking and why we're thinking it,
right?
And we should be required to explain ourselves on that as well,
right?
But I don't think we have to have that conversation right this minute.
No, it'll be on the agenda. Okay, Eric, do you have a comment?
I am unreasonably excited about the idea of having an artist in residency at the Libby jail. I don't know why. So thank you, Robin, for I'm assuming you thought of that. That was brilliant. And and I just want to say how excited it is. I'd love to be part of that in any way if that's going to happen. I don't know if this needs to be in discussion for next month or something, but or whatever, we can put that into the future. But
I like that. I'd love to, break out that concept, artist in residence. I'd love to break that concept out and get more background about it, and let's try to move on something like that. I'll put that on.
The idea of an artist in residency in a jail is like, what? It just
we'll get a lot of vertical lines. Okay. Great.
I really, really thought this was a great meeting, and really excited about. Thank you for all your everyone's enthusiasm about the website, and just thank you guys. I'm really excited. I'm on the Arts Commission. And that's it for me.
Okay, thank you, Robin.
I just have to go. I'm sorry. I have to
go. That's okay.
Robin, hang on for a minute.
Thank you.
She's gone.
Okay, Christine.
Yeah, I do have a couple comments. I sure hope, sorry, Robin left before I was able to say this, but I sure hope that you have all gone to City Hall to pick up your handbooks. And there was a lot of work that went into that on the part of Luis.
They're great. They're really great.
On the part of Luis and
Luis.
On the part of Luis and Luis's staff. Mm-hmm. So please get your handbook, and it's very informative. If you're new to the commission, I think you'll learn a lot. And if you're the head of a committee, there is absolutely nothing prohibiting you and your committee for updating the introduction to your committee. That comes from many years back. And that's maybe a committee task to do, to update it and then get it to Luis. And then, we'll all get 3-hole punched and we'll put the new thing in there. So I wanted to mention that. I also, and this really is to the public, as well as to all of you, I am now in the process of training anyone who is interested in becoming a docent for our public art tours. So certainly everyone, I believe, everyone on the commission should be able to give the public art tour. That means you have to come on one. So please show up and come on a public art tour. I know, Smitty, you're laughing. I'm not going to say anything more. But if there's anyone out there in the public who would like to be a docent, would you contact Luis Gomez at the city, and he will start collecting a list of names, and then there'll be a training session. And I promise you, it will be a lot of fun. I have given 2 tours, as I mentioned before, and I've gotten really, really positive feedback on those tours. And the first tour, I think I was a little nervous. By the second tour, I was in full theater mode. And some of you don't know, I have that background too. So come on a tour, please. I will be inviting all of City Council, and also I'm inviting city staff to take a tour so that they know what public art they are responsible for maintaining. The other thing, and this is for the public also, is if anyone out there has a special love of Clough Vista Park, would you also please submit your name to Luis, because I'm starting a little committee called Friends of Clough Vista Park. And it will be far more than the public art. It will also be making sure that the native gardens are kept in good order. And I know there are people out there that would really love to have a hand in that. So let me know who you are, and I'll try to make that fun too. That's it. Those are my comments.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. And I just wanted to close by thanking all of you.
Marcy, you didn't ask me yet.
You know what, Nigel, you talk a lot, so I don't know. Was that a comment? Was that? I'm sorry, I forgot. I didn't call in.
That's rude.
I lost track.
So you want to
lost track. Yeah, please give us your comment.
A few things. I'll just go backwards. I went on one of Christine Golden's tours. It's fantastic, and I can absolutely confirm 2 things. One, that I learned a heap. And one, that yes, it's possible for her to get nervous where she talks too much. Talk about me talking. All right, that's that. The Clough Vista Park, Christine, good idea. I understand why you're doing it. And I understand the issues that you're having with Ojai Land Conservancy. And I'm also aware that this is going out publicly. But I understand the issues that you're having with that. And I hope they resolve. With regard to the docent, I'm absolutely prepared to learn what I need to learn in order to do that. I think that's fantastic. And I think as a member of the commission, everybody should at least learn how to do it and be out there in the public explaining what we're doing, why we're doing it, how we're doing it, and when we're doing it. Artists in residence, Eric, what an awesome idea that is. What an awesome idea that is. Let's do that. Or let's at least have that conversation about that. With regard to pushing back on me, Christine, and I wish Robin was still here, keep doing that. I really value that probably more than anything else, is that I know how I come across, but please don't view that as a way to think that I'm closed or to new ideas and new thoughts and new processes. I need to hear, because there's 7 of us, and I can guarantee you that our 7 brains together are better than any one of our brains. So as long as we're pulling in the same direction and putting our thoughts out there in a common thread, then I think that's the way to go. Eric, you have got an incredible task in front of you, and I am someone who is intimately connected with social media, building web pages, done plenty myself. You've got a heck of a job. So thank you very much for taking that on, and I'm here to help you in any way that I can with that. Marcy, I believe you're not here for the next meeting, but
No, I'm here. I'm not here in July.
Where are we?
Here for June.
Okay, awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
So okay, I will have a look at the dates. So I'll be in Colombia on the 17th of June, which is the next scheduled meeting. But that's fine, as long as I don't have to chair it. Otherwise, that's a bit of a problem. And what I would say in closing is this, is the public are watching. I've become very aware of that in the last 24, 36 hours. And I am absolutely thrilled by that, because the more public engagement we have, the better it can be for the town. The whole point of what we're doing is that people know what we're doing and that we make an impact in this town. I've got a problem with my shoulder. I was in physical therapy today, and my doctor, Dr. Swanner, who, by the way, if you need physical therapy, is fabulous. Luis, I may have just broken a rule, but nonetheless, I'm talking to, he's asking me what I'm doing tonight. And I said, this is what I'm doing. This is an intelligent man, is part of the Ojai community. He doesn't even know that the Art Commission exists. We have failed. We need not to fail anymore. We need to make ourselves relevant to this community. We need to make ourselves positive to this community. And I can almost guarantee you that 90% of the people in town may know who we are individually, but don't know what we do on Thursdays once every month. We need to fix that. And with that, Marcy, I'm done. Thank you for calling on me.
I'm sorry, Nigel. It was totally inadvertent.
I understand. I think Christine was going to say
track
something.
of who I called on. But
I think Christine Steiner was going to say something though, right?
Yeah, Christine.
I just wanted to agree with you about the importance of the public. Absolutely. And it's wonderful that the public is watching. And if there isn't awareness, it simply means that we have more work to do. And that's great.
That's right.
And I just would like to add to that. I think we're well on our way. We've, with all the energy, the incredible energy that we have gathered here, with incredible new ideas and programs and all that's about to be a thing of the past. Whether, with all the different concepts we have, and oh my God, an artist in resident in our jail. I mean, that's national news, I think. But so anyway, thank you, everyone. And I look forward to the next meeting and hearing what other great ideas. And Smitty, did you want to say something? No? Okay. Well, with that, we don't have our city council person. Who is our city council person, Luis?
Yep. If memory serves me right, it's Councilmember Haiti.
Okay. All right. So no report there. So with that, I'll adjourn this meeting and see you all next month on the 17th. Oh,
thank you all.
We have the option. We have the option of meeting in council chambers. If you're not comfortable doing that, you can still make arrangements to join everyone via Zoom.
I'll see you in chambers.
I'll see you in chambers too.
Me too.
You too.